tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Phil, we're about to begin. Quick, quick, wake up, wake up.
Oh, sorry, I was on TikTok.
Oh, anyway, welcome. Welcome. Bucko, mighty Bucko, hello.
All right, I kid.
And welcome. Welcome to Films. We're here with a most, I think it's a very important talk for
Very.
because there's an elephant in the living room. Not this living room, but literally it's there, and I think most people, they don't know what to do about it.
No, they don't even realise.
I want to take you back to the early 1990s to begin with, of a conversation I had. There was a visiting missionary pastor who used to come for Sunday dinners with us when he would speak at our church. Anyway, he's reclining at the table. This is the early 1990s, and he's relaying a story about a family he was visiting, and one of the children upstairs would text down to the mother and say, "What's for dinner, Mum?" And he thought this was the funniest thing. And to be honest, it really is, that a child doesn't come down the stairs to address its mum and speak face to face, but it's so convenient just to send this text. And today, as I speak to you, we're in 25, we've entered the new year, we're into February now, but one of the grandchildren upstairs has put on the door a sign reading, "Don't come in, text me instead." And that's, I mean, we're very respectful. They've moved back in, relatives, and there's a few of them moved back in the last year, and we knock on the door anyway and shout their name. But do you see where this is leading, where it's going? And there's deep concerns here. And one more illustration. Going to work down the motorway, I noticed a large truck rolling by at the side of the car, and it had a picture on it of a removal van parked up outside a house, and there was one removal man on each end of a long settee with a man lying on it with his headphones on in his smartphone. And the text read, the slogan read, "Taking the stress out of moving."
Wow.
So you see, now this is where we're at now.
So don't get off your settee. Stop on your phone with your headphones on. We'll carry you out with
it
your
just
furniture.
shows where we're at, isn't it? Now, the reason we're particularly mentioning the smartphone, because although there's lots of technology, and a lot of people feel, and this is the real crux of the matter, that we're losing our children and grandchildren to technology. And although there's a lot of different technology, laptops and tablets and all sorts of stuff, yet the visible thing that we see from day to day, basically at the moment, isn't it, is this: people in this and walking about in this. And from the beginning, we just want to say that we're not mentioning any names of any people.
We could,
but we don't want to, because this is all about helping people as best we can, and we want the best for people. And we see there is deep addiction. This talk we've called smartphone addiction, or otherwise engaged.
Yeah.
So Phil, you kick us off with some thoughts on
Right. Okay.
the origins of all
The origins for me, probably with a lot of us, around the same sort of time when they entered the public domain, mobile phones. It was Christmas '95 for me, and the girl I was with at the time, when we moved in here, she nabbed me for a mobile phone. I don't know if one of her friends had got one or something, but it was the new kid on the block. Very basic, but people had just started buying them. So '95, and she says, "Get me one for Christmas." And I said, "You don't need one. We've got a landline." We used to have a landline there. I said, "We don't need one. What do you need a mobile phone for?" So, I can ring you. I said, well, you know where I am, I'm at work. Or, you know, I'll just please get me one. I said, I crumbled, so I think I bought one as a surprise for a Christmas present anyway. So she had this phone, and I think within 2-3 weeks after Christmas into the new year, she was saying, why don't you get one? I said, but I don't need one, Lisa, I don't need one. Come on, get one, we can phone each other. So again, I crumbled, wouldn't do it now, but I crumbled, and I went back up. It was at Argus at West Brom, if any people remember that. I went up there to see if they'd still got the same phone, and they had. So I bought it. I think I got it in sale as well. So I've actually still got my first phone, the one that I bought Lisa, and that I went and duplicated for myself. And it's, who remembers these? BT Cellnet, pay as you go. Right? What about that? Them were the days. 2 pence a minute. And text message 10 pence a message. Fantastic. Yeah, so there it is. Little tiny Philips phone on BT Cellnet, which became O2 eventually. And who remembers topping them up with a card that you have to buy from the newsagents?
Yes.
Scratch it off and you boop, 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 and it put the balance on for you. And it topped it up for £5 or £10.
That's it.
So there it was. Very basic. Hardly used it because of cost. You know, you couldn't use it all the time. But it was there for an emergency, so you carry it about. Occasionally I'd ring my brother or texting something. So you know, you'd have to press a button multiple times to get to the letter that you wanted. So that was it really. That started me off. And I thought I was the boy about town, you know, walking around with a phone. Even bought a little holster for it, I think, at the time, or something like that. So that was it. It sort of progressed year after year, I suppose, as the technology went on, and for want of a word, they got better and better, or changed the format. Yeah. So I had all sorts of things, and this one actually wasn't mine, but I'm not going to mention names. But do you remember when they went over to little flip-up phones? So there's a Motorola, tiny, look how small it is in my hand, absolutely tiny.
It's good you've kept all this.
Yeah, I've got loads.
Illustrate our talk. No?
I could show you loads, but I've got way too many. Yeah, so little Motorola, little flip-ups. I think a lot of girls like remember the slider phones as well? A lot of girls like the slider ones.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so it went from that, and then probably the most popular phone in the world, I think we all had one, was the little Nokia. Technical issues, sorry. Nokia 3300 and 3310, I think we all had one. And I think what I loved about them, well, obviously one size, but also it was quite, you can make it unique to yourself, or you could personalise it. So the back came off and the front came off, you could even change the keypad. So you can make it your own phone that nobody else had got. I mean, I quite regularly used to go down to Bescot Market near here, and I'll buy like a Union Flag one or a Mod Target one, just so it was a bit different. Anyway, progression happened, and many things changed. Internet came out in a very low format. It's called, who remembers WAP? And it was a wireless application protocol, and you came with a little web browser on your phone, not like they are now. So you could actually go online, but obviously at a cost with your pay-as-you-go. Anyway, so the next evolvement for me, as it evolved, was a camera and colour screens. So, because I was on pay-as-you-go, I had to go and buy an handset, which had cost a fortune back in the day, because I wouldn't get it on a contract. So I'd go to the O2 shop, say in Walsall, take my pay-as-you-go SIM out and say, can I have this latest phone, and put it in and blah blah blah. Anyway, it was just the first camera phone that I know to. There was obviously others, but that I knew to. And it was a Sharp, and it was exclusive to O2. So there you go, quite different now. It turned into a chocolate block phone. And with a camera on the back, even a mirror. if you were self-centred. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you know, this was quite a progression to show people. You know, I could take a photo of them or whatever and say, look, I can send it to you. You know, for 25p or whatever. It's quite amazing to see, rather than black and white text as well, colour.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing. So on from that, all phones eventually became camera phones. Probably one of my favourites of all was this lovely little kidney-shaped phone, Nokia 6600. And that was a great shape. And I remember me and my brother and my mate all having them. And we were all on the same network as well, so it was cheaper to call each other. But I love that because it got a little joystick as well, which you could move around the menu. So that was a fantastic one to hold. That was really good. Funny shape, Nokias. Even tried all of them. Well, there you go. You could say I was addicted.
You certainly had a big interest in.
I had a big interest in it. Yeah, in the technology.
Anything
I
new.
like, yeah,
You see
anything
people
new.
like
Yes.
that which is new. They like to talk
Yeah.
about it, look at it, examine it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even funny shapes as well. You know, I went for all these, and again, just different to everybody else. I like to be different to everybody else. Nothing wrong with that. Then I'll just show you this one, and then we've got one more. Another Nokia, and again it progressed with the camera, so they got better and better, things like that. But this was quite good because it was small in your hand, nice camera on it, a front-facing camera, which was new, if you wanted to take pictures of yourself, which they all do nowadays. Yeah, and this one had the hidden keyboard, so it was a slider Nokia, so that was really, really nice as well. I really enjoyed that one at the time. And then just last of all for them, after the regular keypad where, like, if you wanted to spell something like me, you'd have to press the M key, and then you'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to E.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? But then they brought out, just like a computer, they brought out QWERTY keyboards, or squirty keyboards if you like to call them that. So QWERTY keyboard, so it was like a little, that's when the beginning of like having a computer in your pocket really took hold.
Yeah.
It's like a mini computer really,
Yeah, yeah.
because it was the same keyboard as a computer. So you've got even better internet, still got your camera, and obviously they developed and developed on that.
Yeah, until this is where we're at today.
Exactly. A couple of things that changed for me and everybody else is that I'm not so keen on. With a newer phone, the battery's built in.
Yeah.
So it's become a throwaway society again. So if your battery dies on these or it no longer takes charge, your phone's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, all your Nokias, you took the back off them and you could buy a new battery.
Right.
You can't do that anymore. Also, expanding the memory. So as the cameras got better, you could put a memory card in to hold more photos and videos and things like that. So it's just a massive progression. But like I say, I was addicted as well. But probably for the item. Bit of a poser.
It's fascination. People have fascination for the new products.
Yeah.
Now, in my case, I grew up, as I've said before, in the 60s as a child.
Yeah.
And in those days, there were no mobile phones, there was no landlines even in the house.
Yeah.
If you had a camera taking photographs on holiday or whatever, you took it into like Boots or the chemist or one of these camera shops.
That's right. And pray that they developed.
That they turned out.
Yeah.
There was public phone boxes that were sometimes vandalised on street corners. Quite a lot. If one was broken, you had a little way to walk, but it wasn't like excessive, was it? You could find another one.
Probably one of the best sounds in the world as well. Dialing one of those.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. The old.
And waiting
sort.
and shoving your 2 pence in when you got the tone. Fantastic.
Yeah, and sometimes your money would run out.
Yeah, that's it.
Holidays, people, not everyone, only the rich had home projectors and stuff. Playing all your home movies.
Yeah.
There was no apps. No. If you wanted to know the bus or the train times.
You'd have to go to the travel shop and get the timetable.
Pick up the timetable.
Yeah.
You get in your car, you're going on a long distance. Well, you couldn't put your sat nav on, so someone had to be a good navigator.
Yeah.
So the point in all of this is that more or less everyone has a phone, or either an old mobile phone or they've got a smartphone, and we all use them to some extent.
Yeah.
The question is, for how long? How many hours are people holding these in their hands, near their ears?
Yep, that's a biggie.
They're putting them on parts of the body, vulnerable. Men used to have them on their belts, down below,
I've done that.
and ladies would stick
in
them
the
in the
bra.
bras, or in the... Many just stick them in the back pocket.
Yeah.
So we're going to cover some of these things of the extent, because you see, this is how bad it's getting. This isn't in a sense just another talk, although it is, but it's important because we believe that yes, the children and grandchildren are being lost to technology.
Definitely.
You strike up a conversation with most people of a reasonable age,
And you can converse.
and they
Yeah.
know what you're talking about when you talk about addicts.
Oh, yeah.
Addicts of the smartphone. You come back from work in a happy mood, you walk in, and do you see something like the television on, nobody watching it, somebody sitting there with earphones on, listening,
On the tablet.
yet another one on a
Yeah.
tablet.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of tumult, many devices in a room, much noise, much tumult, much confusion, and suddenly the atmosphere, then you feel lighter in spirit walking in. Now you look, some people may look up, flutter of an eye, someone may say, "You all right?" But there's other people not even aware you're in the room.
No, that happens all the time.
It stifles conversation. It's a depressive, heavy atmosphere. It mutes stimulating talk.
Definitely.
And I would say children and adults are equally addicted.
I would say more so. No, this is not a sexist remark. More so women from the age of 15 to 30.
Yeah.
Men as well,
Oh, definitely.
but
yeah.
young girls and then young ladies just can't remove themselves from it. Their life is run through their phone.
Because you made that point, I said before we began filming,
Yeah.
that's an excellent point, Phil. How everything comes through the phone.
Everything.
It's getting to the state that if this was taken away from them,
The cold turkey.
Yeah.
Look,
what state would many be in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful. And of course, what that's brought along as well, talking about girls, I mentioned like on that old phone, there's a mirror on the back of it. But the main thing is the introduction of the front-facing camera. And what that's really done is just brought into not being able to converse and being addicted as well. It's also brought so much narcissism into the world.
All about them.
All
and
about
their
them,
selfies.
self-centered.
And a new one being put up on my home
This
page.
is where I am, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm wearing.
Yeah. Yes, very much
The
so.
whole life is being put on the
Self-centred.
internet.
Self-centred, yeah.
Yeah.
Narcissists.
Yeah. Which also makes them very vulnerable online as well, I think.
Yeah. And to such an extent that people are addicted, I've often said, where have the people gone who we know and love? It's like the film The Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, they look the same, but they're different, and you can't really converse much. it's limited, it's stunted, this conversation, and obviously that is not going to be healthy for a generation growing up addicted to these things. I mean, I said, going to the dentist, right, it was a rainy day, and I brought this along to Phil's, because I wasn't sure if it was going to rain, but rainy day, and I noticed there was no one with umbrellas on a rainy day, or scarcely anyone. So I get in and I say hello to the dentist, begin talking, and I said, you know what, I've got my umbrella. I says, not many people have that, and I think it's because you can't hold this and text at the same time. I says, I like my umbrella, like John Steed in the Avengers, I said. He says, does yours blow up? But yeah.
Yeah, if you take the phone they've got in their hand, well, it is the phone they've got in their hand. I've also got a cup of coffee in their hand as well, that's what I've noticed nowadays. So no longer in so much of a rush, and everything's done on there. They're not getting up in the morning, doing the usual, making your breakfast, whatever you have, cup of tea, showered, changed, blah blah blah, packing your bag for work, wherever it may be. I think that has also created where it's a rush. They've got to do, they even do the work on the phone, don't they? As well as laptops.
Yes.
So they do emailing on the phone and things like that.
Yes.
So what they're doing now, they haven't got time at home to make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. They're having to buy a coffee on the way to work.
Yes.
So they're walking around with the phone and a cup of coffee all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, well, good point.
Yeah.
Good point. So, do you find communicating, particularly with, well, this is the same for adults, but it's particularly with the children. You may have to address them 3 times, and you call the name, no reply. And it might be to a question like, look, do you want jam on your toast? And you call the name the second time. Hello?
I think...
and there's grunts.
I think we could apply that to back in the day a little bit as well. I think all kids are like that to a degree.
Okay. We'll give a bit of
a little bit, you know, so you could be transfixed on, I don't know, your railway set or something, and your mum shouting for your tea. You know, Philip, tea's ready, and I'm watching, you know, intense with your train set. Philip, your tea's ready.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But
yeah, well, it's what you're engrossed in, and this is what they're engrossed in now, and to such an extent, one of the areas that it's affecting people in is this whole area of oblivious to your surroundings.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you're so occupied, because look, how many hours a day? We're talking about addiction. How many hours a day? And we've got to be honest with people. We've got to be honest even with the subscribers who are with us on board on many of the things that we've said against the Rona and what's going on today. They're on board. But we've got to examine ourselves. Are we addicts? And by addicts, I mean people. You look at them in this room. You look at them they're in that room. Here, there, everywhere. There's no conversation. And if there is, they get anxious to get back.
Yeah.
Their eyes flutter. They get back in the...
Because what we mentioned before, well, not so far, but how we started the video, their attention span is very short now. Very short.
Yeah.
Because of things like TikTok. And you've got to think about how we started the video. To me, names are everything. So TikTok, that's why you bloody name that. Anyway, yeah. So as far as I can see, TikTok, when I look at people using it, is very short videos, majority. So 5, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and it's all you can hear on the bus and wherever, because they've all got them on loudspeaker.
Yeah.
And it's all... So they're going from one to another.
Yeah, flicking through.
So they couldn't sit, for argument's sake, of an evening and watch an hour and a half video on some subject. They couldn't do that.
It's too much for them.
It's too much for them. Yeah, they need little sudden bursts.
Yeah.
So they're addicted to that, and you've got to get back to it.
And addiction, look, if you're in this 6 hours a day, and literally 6 hours, I'm saying I don't know where to start on saying this.
Well,
how many hours?
It's a lot
because I
more.
know people 7, 8, longer.
Take them to bed.
They take them to bed. They go to sleep with earphones on. You know, this is dangerous stuff. Really, that bad. So we need to examine ourselves. Now, one thing I do know, I'm not an addict, because some days I stick this in a drawer and that's it. I do not use it. And even both grandchildren have said to me, "You don't use your phone, Grandad, like everyone else." I said, "Well, I don't want it all the time."
I'll get told off if people try to ring certain people try to ring me, and I haven't answered it because I might be in the garden and I've left my phone in there, or I've gone up the shop or wherever, or whatever it is. I ain't took it out with me. I'm elsewhere doing something else, and it might be like 2, 3, 4 hours later. I noticed I've had a missed call, and when I ring them back, they're in a strop with me because I didn't answer their phone. Yeah. Well, I don't have to have it with me all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah. I think back. You've shared a bit how you first introduced. I think of
Definitely peer pressure.
People would get really upset because we didn't have phones for a long time, mobile phones, and even a landline we didn't bother with.
No.
And people would get angry and stroppy with you. We can't get hold of you.
Yeah.
Why don't you get this? Why aren't you on the internet? Why don't? And in the end, a particular family gave me an old mobile phone, and.
Do you know
It was free. They just, I can't remember. It was one of those.
You were the little aerial.
Yeah. So from there, it went on from there. But so some would shout out to us, Bucko, you can't stop progress. You can't stop. Yeah, look. I've said we all use these things to some extent. The question is, are we addicts? You know, well, you walk down the street. Now look, here's an example.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You see people everywhere in these, the children going to school, the adults, everyone, walking about like this, right? If I walk down the street like this, you know...
He's Barbie!
People... maybe a lot of people won't even notice because they're in the phones anyway.
There is that, yeah.
Yeah, but those that did notice would say to themselves,
"What's he
oh,
doing?"
A bit strange.
Yeah.
A bit strange, yeah. And of course it would be strange because you don't see many people walking down with books like that. But they're all in this. And so, because the vast majority are doing it, it becomes acceptable.
Yeah. It's the norm.
It's like with what we've been through in this,
yeah,
isn't it?
Exactly.
Because they're having this and everyone's having it. It's that peer pressure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but there's the reverse side of that. The flip side is the uses of these can be fantastic as well. So from the stupidity of 2020, where would we have been without this for contacting each other and things like that?
Of course, technology can be used for good things.
Yeah.
It's the extremes, isn't it? And people to be on this 6, 7, 8, 9 hours or longer is pure addiction. So, let's have a think then. So, and if they're in it that long, we have noticed, particularly with children, when they look up, there's like a glazed... Yeah. I call it a half trance that they're in. They're like intoxicated with the waves, the electro stuff, and it's like overwhelmed them, and you can see it in the eyes.
Well, I think that's with adults as well. In fact, harking back to one of these videos, you know how he's mentioned people are zombified nowadays, which they are, not aware of the surroundings, like you say, can't converse, angry. People are quite angry nowadays, and then he mentions car drivers. Well, even if you don't drive, I can see the state of drivers nowadays. It's awful, the roads. He asked a question on his video, what do you think is causing this and what do you think is causing that? And my reply was, the mobile phone.
Absolutely, I think it's a valid point.
I think that also leads on to what you were going to mention about road traffic accidents and flowers.
Road traffic accidents, I mean, even today, before I got here, we were coming back from church, and we had the little grandchild with us, and she says, Grandad, she says, why are these flowers tied to those lampposts there? And as you've pointed out, Phil, it's related to death, not just injury. It's mainly death, isn't it? Well, it's totally death. It's people that have died stepping out, or a car's hit them at that point, or something.
I mean, it can be two cars that have crashed and things like that. But is that down to that as well? While they're driving?
Well, yeah. Yeah. So...
But do people step out in the road now? Well, yes, they obviously do, because we see it.
More people are stepping out walking, and
pushing the
there's
pram out.
scarcely, you can observe people stepping out walking across. Very few turn their heads to a 90 degrees both ways, or look twice. They just step out.
That's right.
So how many then have been killed in their phones stepping onto the road? How many I've even heard of somebody walking down a pier on a seaside and falling over the edge. Or you've all come across on YouTube sad people who are taking selfies, back to the narcissism, hanging over cliffs and then fall off to their death.
Yeah.
You know, or taking selfies or pictures with some wild beast from the jungle ready to come and devour them. You know. And the list goes on. Yeah, I mean, it puts people in this state of not being aware of their surroundings. I mean, if you're walking down the road as a child on the way to school in this, like this, and there's some knife-wielding maniac in the distance, that you'll know nothing till you look up like that and they're upon you.
Well, my little phrase is, I think now's a good time if you wanted to rob a bank. It's the time to do it. Because nobody will notice you. They'll all be in the phones.
Oh, that's it, and you could even go in with a mask on. They don't take the slightest bit of difference.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, mate.
So that engrossed the applications on their phones now. Like I said, their phone runs their lives. So you've got obviously all your social media, sharing what you're doing, where you are, who you're with, taking your photo every day.
Taking pictures of the meals you eat.
Yeah.
Has it come to this?
Yeah. You've got email clients now, which like I mentioned in earlier phones, it did come in then. But now it's progressed with spreadsheets and emails. So a lot of people, whereas you can't see it, but me, I prefer my nice big computer. So that's more time. I'm not carrying that round with me, looking into my computer. That's more time when I get home.
Yeah.
I can have my tea, have a beer, watch what I want.
We're going to come to that, Phil.
Yeah.
Later on, we're going to throw a few positives out of how, you know, what to do about this.
Yeah. So I find that, well, definitely the younger generation don't have a computer. It's all It's all that.
Right.
So everything, that's what I'm saying, their phone runs their lives from, with email, appointments.
And, of course, the evil controllers brought out all this technology for the purpose of addiction.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
To get the people addicted.
Yeah, so your Twitters, Instagrams, Snapchats, your money, so you're dealing with banking apps on there now.
Yeah.
if you wanted to do that, you must be daft. You got your NHS app on there,
Yeah.
so tracking all your medical health and passing it on to third parties. So everything now is on the phone. Everything, everything they do. I can't think of one thing really that's not on the phone. From ordering a drink to ordering a meal.
And good point. Even in restaurants,
Yeah.
they're going in. You know, McDonald's just
Yeah.
doing this, or a restaurant where you just press the things what you order,
Yeah.
and they seem to think this is acceptable. This
Yeah.
is
For your convenience.
There are restaurants with robot serving. Aren't
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Maybe not fully developed as they will be in time.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's because we care, basically. We care. We don't want to see people slaves of their phones. Again, on the way to work, instead of having a lift, I was on the train this time because the one I get a lift with was not there that particular day. And one of the work people round the back of our business, who I know to talk to, he was walking his dog. So we stop and we talk. And the conversation got onto this subject of the phones and the children and this and that. And he says it was the worst thing I ever did, giving one of his children a smartphone, because now there's no conversation, they're in it all the time, and he just says, and the person even speaks with an American accent.
Yes.
Because of watching too much YouTube, they're copying what they watch.
Yeah.
And I sympathise and says this is exactly so. I know exactly what you mean.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a celebrity society, isn't it now? I want to be. So not through just the telelive vision, but through your phone. They want to be like somebody else, don't they?
Yeah.
So that American accent and that is, and what they're wearing, what they're dressing like is all part of that.
And I had a very good story related on good authority to me. There was two children, the little one and the big one, and they didn't really get on that much. The little one irritated the big one, and he was always squabbling and this, that, and the other, and there was not much, happiness and play amongst them.
Right.
And then the big one dropped their phone, smashed it. So for a week before the person could get their new phone,
They had to interact.
they had to interact, and they got on very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
Mm.
So what's the common denominator? They
Yeah.
didn't have this. And deep down in your heart, you know people like this, and you know family members like this, and you know so many things. We're just skimming the surface, but what we're saying here is being lived out across the country, across the world.
Yeah. I think that, shall I move on to some of my...
Yeah, tell us about
what
your experiences on the bus.
What I detest about them. Obviously, we've mentioned that people can't converse now. As if they can look up from the phone. And I hate trying to talk to somebody when they're on the phone, they don't come off it.
Yeah.
They say, I'm listening.
It is rude, isn't it?
Yeah, I hate that. Anyway.
Or you've got visitors.
Yeah.
And people, they just go, hello, they sit down, and then they're in the phones.
Yeah. Isn't it? So some of the negatives for me anyway, and dangers, is money, payments. So again, tends to be the younger generation. They're not using physical cash or anything anymore. They're not even using a bank card. They're using their phone
to pay for everything.
To pay for everything. Everything. Even you go to the pub, there's a scanner by the bar now.
Yeah.
For argument's sake, a big pub like a Wetherspoons. There's a scanner by the bar. You can put your card in if you want to pay by card. Obviously, still use cash. But I could say 90% of people in that pub of a night up to the age of 35, 40 are doing that when they get to the bar. They order the drinks and dink, dink.
And at the supermarket,
Yeah,
they'll just bleep, bleep.
yeah. So they've got very short attention span, as we said. They're in an hypnotic state. They're not using physical money. They're all narcissists. They can't make any conversation. They post everything about themselves online, where they are. They don't notice anything around them at all. They don't notice the birds, insects, flowers. They don't even look up at the sky, at the stars, at the moon, the sun, the clouds.
And of course, if the evil controllers will cart them all off to smart cities one day,
They'll be in their element.
they'll be in their element.
Yeah, that's
just
right,
give
yeah.
them all the
Yeah.
technical mod cons to go in, and they'll be happy as a sandboy, they used to say years ago.
So, talking of payments, really grinds me gears, this one does. Travelling to work on the bus, and I've mentioned it a few times. What this has done, because they're all paying on the bus now with these, there's a scanner by the driver down the front of the bus. You can still put cash in, you can still use a bank card. But again, majority are using this. So there's like a red scanner, and it's got like a little photographic eye on the front, I suppose. And they have to bring up this bus app, West Midlands bus app round here, and it's got like a barcode on it, I suppose. And they're trying to scan it. You know, they've got on the bus and they're trying to scan it like this. To go beep to say they've paid, and they don't get a ticket, by the way.
All right, yeah.
No, they don't
Most
get it.
people don't want tickets or receipts.
But that's your physical thing to say you've paid, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, so they're doing this, and we're all sitting there waiting, saying, "Come on, I'm late as it is." And they're doing this, and the driver's saying, "Pull it away further," and they go beep, and they'll get on. And then you'll get some that haven't topped up this bus app.
Yeah.
So they've got no money, but they keep trying. It keeps going. And everybody's waiting in the queue behind them. You know, gets worse and worse. So it's prolonged the journey time, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So the other thing is, a few things is, a lot of people miss buses, which I find hilarious, because they're at the bus stop and they're doing this, you know, and the bus comes and they don't even notice, and the driver will sort of slow down and think, "Oh, they don't want us," and he'll carry on, and they go, too late, it's kind of not on the bus saying, "Yes, another one." But yeah, so there's that. They miss the stops. They miss the stop to get off, because again they've normally got their headphones on and they're in the submerged in their phone, and they miss the stop, and then they go ding 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 ding. Too late. You've got to get off at the next one and walk all the way back. That's funny as well. But there's many things like getting on the bus, because the majority pay with the phone now. There's a few things that have been lost. One, the ability to speak to the driver and ask for a ticket.
Yeah.
So they've become very, what's the word I want? Arrogant? I don't know. There's no please or thank yous anymore at all. Right. So because they've got this in their phone, in their hand, all they've got to do is try and scan it. They don't have to say single or
can I have a ticket,
£1.80 ticket to so and so. Does this bus? They just go beep.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't converse with the driver.
Breaking down communication.
Yeah. When they get off, you know, always say cheers, thanks, mate. You know, whatever. They don't do that.
Yeah.
They just
they just pile off.
Yeah. And I think that's the norm now, that you haven't got to speak. The sort of panic where to sit as well. Now that
wasn't there an example you said of some lad?
Yeah.
He was missed the bus or something.
It was in Albury, and he was quite, I'd say, late 20s. This chap came. So when the driver and these newer buses nowadays, once they shut the doors, they can only move off when the doors are shut, not like the old buses, and then they release the handbrake and they're off, sort of thing, you indicate. So nowadays, if the driver's raised the platform and shut the doors, about to go, he ain't going to stop again and put it all back down and open the doors. So he's looking in his mirror to pull out. The doors are shut. And I see this chap come running down the side of the bus, banging on all the windows. Stop, stop, stop. The driver did. He stopped, put the handbrake on, dropped the bus down, opened the doors, let him on. What does he do? What would you do?
Say thank you.
No.
Because under normal circumstances, he'd miss that bus.
Yeah.
Because the majority wouldn't stop for him. Once they've started, they won't stop.
What did he do?
Leave
And just walked down the
and
bus.
walked down, never said a word.
No.
Exactly. You've just illustrated what's going on.
Yeah.
People losing common decency, common manners, interacting with the drivers, with shop assistants, with whoever they're dealing with. And you've seen others get on the bus and they, I can't really.
They talk very loud. They won't come off the phone to get the money out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then eventually, and they carry on talking. They've not interacted, as it were, with a human being driving the bus at all.
I hate it in a checkout.
You see how bad
shop.
this is all getting.
A shop as well, the checkout.
Yeah.
I hate that when they're on the phone. They're on the phone like that.
Yeah.
And they're packing the bags and stuff. And the checkout lady's going beep, beep, and they just like that, carry on talking. And then they just go, 1 second, beep, and pay for it. They don't say thanks to the
It's
lady.
sad.
It's horrible.
Sad. Yeah. It's a sad situation.
A biggie is we mentioned children, parents texting up to the rooms, all this lot. What they do now as well, you've all probably noticed, pushchair on the bus, the kids screaming away or shouting at this or whatever.
Give them this to shut them up.
Shut them up. Yeah. And a bag of crisps at 8 o'clock in the morning and
It's all
chocolate.
done for, let's be honest about it, a quiet life and laziness.
Yeah.
Instead of the more... Look, sometimes Jane and me, we've been on the bus, and she sees a little one and she loves children and she'll smile and wave, go like that. And I just sit quiet, because, you get misunderstood googling her,
Yeah.
But she's sweetness and...
But it shouldn't be like that. Yeah.
So she's... Years ago, people would be like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's like that. And the kid... Some kids are so unused to it, they just look blank. But others, the majority, warm to it.
Oh,
and they start
love it,
laughing and giggling.
And
making... And the mother's like this. She may lift an eyebrow just to look, but she's in the phone. So many times you see them just sitting there, give them that, and they don't want to interact
they've got their own.
Or play with the child.
They've got their own. So the kid's got a phone, the mother's in the phone, she's got a can of special brew in the in the pushchair as well, unbelievable what they're doing to kids, unbelievable. So they all talk loud as well. Now I've listened to people on the bus give out private information, they don't care.
Yeah,
because
this.
They're in another world.
They're giving the bank details.
Bank details. Booking an appointment at the doctor and giving the name
and
address.
What do you want? The large number at the top. My number is...
Yeah.
And oh dear.
It's terrible. So the other thing I find is, harking back to it when they pay. So this is in their hands to start with, to pay. They've not got to get on the bus pass or change and pay for a ticket and sit down, and perhaps they might want to get the phone out. Right? It's there already.
Yeah.
So they're outside waiting for the bus at the bus stop on their tick-tock. The bus comes, if they see it, they get on and pay with it, and it's already in their hand. They haven't got to put it down. Do you know what I mean? They haven't. It's not in their pocket. They haven't got. It's already installed there, ready. But another hate. It sounds like a hate, doesn't it? This. These things.
Illustration, right? Someone getting on a bus with one of these on the back.
Absolute nightmare now, because that's in their hand. They haven't got no hands, especially if they've got a coffee in the hand or whatever. This is on their back. So they're walking down the bus, because what any regular person do, like I do, you take it off, pay and walk down the bus with it. So you got it down the aisle, so you're not bumping into people. They walk down with this on the back, with their phone in their hand, banging everybody with it. Especially when they get to the seat they want to sit on, they do that to go onto the seat and smash you in the face with it. Yeah. So even that bit of intelligence has gone.
Yeah. Don't let them in the antique shops.
Yeah.
It will be.
Yeah.
Let's have a smashing time.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, so that's my little story of the bus and where we're going.
Okay, so how can we then? Because look, we understand you can't, in that sense, stop progress. But is this a good progress? We all have concerns, and deep-rooted concerns, and real. I mean, I get really upset with this because I see how it's affecting people and how it's breaking. Look, we all know the times we've been in restaurants and we're sitting talking to whoever we're with, and then we look and we see a table, we see a family, and nobody's actually talking to each other, or if it is, it's a very minimum, and then they're back in to their laptop, their tablet, their phones. Nobody's talking.
So, a prime example of that is me and Charlotte Poppy a couple of years ago now. We went for our tea down in the town at Wetherspoons one night. I think it was like just a Thursday night, and we were on the stage part, it's raised, and we were on our little table talking to each other, waiting for the food to come out. There's a couple, so there's like an aisle in between the two tables. There's a couple on the next table, only 4 foot away from us, perhaps in their 40s, 50s, perhaps. She's on her phone, he's opposite on his phone, and me and Charlotte are sitting there. And they're engrossed, they're not talking with each other. I said to Charlotte, watch this. I said, look at these pair here. I said, you can say anything you want to them. She's saying, Dad. I said, no, watch. I can talk and say, look at them on the phones, but they can't hear me because it doesn't sink in.
And
she was going, Dad,
Dad. Game or something?
No, just, well, I don't know, Facebook or something. I don't know what they were doing. But they aren't talking to each other. They've gone out as a couple. They weren't talking to each other, and I could say anything I want to them, and my daughter saying, shh, don't, Dad, don't. I said, they won't hear me.
Oh, Phil.
And they didn't.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gone.
Wow, so... Okay, so... the question is, how much do we want to contribute to all of this? It's all very well to say they're doing this and they're doing that. The question is, are we doing it? And we're not condemning anyone, and we're not having a go at anyone. But if we're addicted to that extent that we become a problem, people can't approach us because we're in the phone all the time. We walk down the street with our earphones on and this. Look, I would say a good place to start is, first of all, do you recognise there's a real problem here? It's not just Phil and Marta going off on one. There is a real problem, and it's affecting people, and it's affecting people you know and love. Let's be honest about it. And then we examine ourselves. Are we addicts? Are we in it 8, 9, 10 hours a day? Can we declutter our phones? Do we really need, I'm throwing out a question, do we really need a lot of these apps on our phones? Do we really need, the stuff that we have on it? I used to, when I had a smartphone, I used to, in the early days, have a lot of music and earphones and walk about the town in my own little world, listening to what I wanted to listen to. Well, like Phil has said, he's got his computer in his house that he can, in the evening, if he wants to watch something on YouTube, he can put that on. He's got his music system, he can come and listen.
Working great Wi-Fi system.
And if you're in a car and you're travelling, you can put a CD or something on, or you can put on what you want to put on. Do you really need it? Again, if you do need it and you really want that, well then fair play, you carry on. We're not having a go. But decluttering, I would say as well, sometimes when I've got my phone and I'm on the street and I feel I have to speak because something's cropped up, I look for a quiet spot. It's strange. It's almost like I don't want to be people seeing me and hearing me. I want to go in a quiet place away from it all And I don't want to contribute to all this. That I'm part of the problem. I'm one of these people
and
that
they pace up and
spot
down.
walking down the
Pace
street,
up and down.
talking and shouting in my phone.
Yeah.
I want to be free of it.
Yeah.
Can we limit the amount of time? Can we get rid? Can we declutter?
Well, there's a couple of things as well. Health
How
issues.
much time we got on there?
I'm not too sure. It should be fine. Health issues. When somebody rings me or I ring them, I always put it on loudspeaker.
Yeah.
Right. I don't hold it there.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people do as well, but the majority are still doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Right next to the brain if they've got one. The other thing that they're all doing now, you just mentioned headphones. I can't quite reach mine over there. I've still got my headphones for my stereo if I want to listen to it like that. I've got an MP3 player in my bag with thousands upon thousands of more stuff on it, LPs. The difference with those to what they're doing now is they're both wired. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, all you young uns all put these earbuds in there.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no wires.
Yeah. And they talk.
Yeah.
Walking down the street.
Yeah. So it looks like they've got a pair of pearl earrings in.
Yeah. And at a distance.
But it's wireless.
When you first see, years back, when you saw someone chuntering down the street, you'd think,
they're mad.
Be careful.
Yeah.
There could be a crackerjack here.
There's a nutter.
They may,
Yeah.
you know. But now you realise, oh, they're talking to somebody, and they're not talking to me. They're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's wireless.
Yeah.
So not only.
And they're going deaf. A lot of people are.
Yeah, but it started with that.
Yeah.
Right, radio waves.
Yeah.
Now it's these wireless earbuds, which is being pushed in their ears, transmitting the radio waves even deeper into the skull.
Now do we see how dangerous this is all becoming? And really this is so important that we recognise what's going on and that we stand against it and we start decluttering ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is tragic if young children get half deaf.
Yeah.
You know.
So,
now, I think, was it Australia, on the November the 18th, 2024, it said, on the radio, it says, there was a man stabbed, wasn't it, on the bus, was it Birmingham area, to steal his mobile phone.
oh yeah, I remember that.
So people are getting robbed,
Yeah.
children threatened, their phones being grabbed. And then it was Australia who brought in September of 24, they wanted to restrict the internet use, was it, of put an age limit
That's like
on
China.
social media
That's like
sites.
China does that, doesn't it? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I sometimes wonder if this is just like said as a news thing, and
To make
it's
themselves
good
look-
intention.
Just to make them look good.
Let's be
Yeah,
honest, it's
yeah.
a good intention. It'd be wonderful to restrict it, that we're not brainwashing even from babies and going on, you know, because what are we becoming if, you know, and I see the danger.
Do you think that'll happen?
I see the danger. I would say they'd resist it and fight to the death. They won't for anything else, but they will for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
I think really we've covered quite a lot of stuff.
There's lots more we could do, but we've been going on for hours, and I think people's attention spans. No, not really. But people don't want a really long video, I don't think.
It's all heading
Yeah.
to complete control. We've said this before so many times.
With
Control,
5G phones as well,
5G phones,
connected to the network.
the health, your physical health of emitting all this stuff,
Yeah.
of walking about with these electromagnetic waves.
Yeah.
Mental health, your physical health, everything's affected. But ultimately, as people have said, they want to get this technology in us. People, look, let's be honest, if they can come up with something,
Well, it's on a watch now as well.
if they can put something into people.
So, again,
Yeah.
I ain't naming
Yeah.
names,
Yeah.
But I know a couple of people who their phones are the watches. So that the phone's in their pocket somewhere or whatever. They don't have to answer it like that now. They answer the phone on the watch.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Star Trek, isn't it?
Well,
Beam me up.
this whole thing is really, really strange stuff, isn't it? But because we're all so becoming so accustomed, so used to it, it becomes normal.
There's always one question that perhaps we could end on, I don't know. If they've given us this,
Yeah.
this is low technology, what have they got?
Well, I would, as people know on my site, I quote the scripture quite often. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here we have one of the apostles of Jesus, John, exiled on the Isle of Patmos in around AD 90, coming out with something like this, divinely inspired, of exactly what we see unfolding today. Is it too much of a stretch to believe some modern day Caesar will arise, take power, be put in place, who will institute this type of technology, something utterly corrupting the people, and that you won't be able to buy or sell? If we think it's bad now, what will it be like then? And lo and behold, you've got people like Elon Musk in these days. And I've gone on about how this cabal are obsessed with the Egyptian mysteries, religion, all the Egyptian gods of Ra, the sun god, and all these things. How they've built this big museum in Cairo full of these artifacts and statues and images, and how Elon Musk is building this super mega computer in, lo and behold, Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Egypt, Memphis, Tennessee in the USA. What does he want it for? Is it to institute this type of stuff?
Mm-hmm. At the flick of a switch of 5G as well.
Wow, wow. Desperate days.
Mm.
We've enjoyed giving this talk because we feel it's important.
It's very deep.
It's very deep, and if you've
Don't take
gone
offence.
through
No.
for this length of time,
Yeah.
we thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an important subject. We hope people will view this far and wide. And until next time,
Yep.
be seeing you.